Hello everyone, and now welcome to game number 2 from the iFengCup. iFengCup, obviously a Chinese tournament that is still currently running. Thank you for all the sponsors of the iFengCup. Even though I cannot read that, I apologize. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look into the positions here, as we are now moving into game number 2. So far, Elegant has a 1-0 lead in this series, as Elegant spawns as the red Night Elf. WFZ spawning as the blue Undead once more here at what I'll call the 4 o'clock positions. This will be full cross spawns, and because of the way this map is situated, even though there are multiple locations where your opponent can spawn, this map actually feels a bit smaller than, say, Melting Valley. It is actually a straight shot from one side to another. There's actually this very, very narrow corridor right down the middle that you're able to traverse down. And once you get into this position, you are able to just knock on the front door and try and disrupt anything that they are attempting to do. Now, I am a bit surprised about the layout of WFZ's base. The building location just doesn't seem to be making that much sense to me, especially when you're going up against a Night Elf player. Night Elf players with Wardens, Demon Hunters, can really abuse the map and try and just destroy these acolytes. Perhaps if this tree is taken down and then a graveyard is placed down here, that will protect these acolytes, but for right now, those acolytes are just all exposed, and anytime you're able to destroy acolytes while an undead player is teching, that is always bad news. Meanwhile, back over here, we can see the archer is already starting that Ancient of War creep. The ghoul has now made its way over as well, and the ghoul, oh, is he going to try and steal this experience? This could be absolutely huge. And who got the gold? And oh my goodness, the Warden did not get that experience. Neither did the Death Knight, since the Death Knight was not yet out. But that is a large chunk of experience lost by that Warden early on. You can see that Warden only has 40 experience right now, the equivalent of killing 2 peasants, as opposed to normally it would be about halfway or a little bit less than halfway right now. Now going to go ahead and try and clear out this creep camp, this Ogre Warrior creep camp. You can see that Wisp doing a great job preventing that Ogre Warrior from heading back to base, and by doing so, getting some easy kills on a fleeing Ogre Warrior. Coming back around, the Death Knight opting this time to not go for Unholy Aura, since the map is situationally smaller, but instead most likely going for that Death Coil. Death Coil is extremely strong, as we see the second Ancient of War, the new shift in the meta, now being brought into play. As I mentioned earlier, this new Ancient of War allows for the continued construction of units in the field, as we now see that this Ancient of War is just absorbing a bit of damage. Most likely it will just get cancelled, a little bit of resources lost, as the Warden now going to be able to come inside here. Oh, Shadow Strike straight up onto this ghoul. The ghoul, however, should be fine since he is on Blight. If he wasn't on Blight, I would say it was perhaps cutting it a little bit close, but you can see how fast that regeneration is on Blight for that ghoul, so he's going to stay there without any real worry. Alright, that damage over time will be negated after about another minute or so, as that ghoul is just going to continue to whistle while it works and get more and harvest more lumber. Back off here, the Warden now still sitting at level 4, attempting to clear out the Ogre Magi creep camp, and it looks as though the Ogre Magi could just end up falling. There it goes, picks up the Claws of Attack +9 and is now running for the hills. Has to be extremely careful there. Use the Shadow Strike to great effectiveness to make sure that Ogre was still taking damage while the Warden was hidden. Now coming back around, you can see that the Death Knight is also sitting at level 2 with 2 gauntlets of Ogre Strength. That +6 hit points, or +6 strength, translating to 150 extra hit points, 6 extra damage, is going to be very powerful in the upcoming battles. But is that Death Knight gonna be that much of a tank, and how is he going to be leading his army? Death Knight needs to get into those front lines, perhaps even getting a good surround on the Warden. The Warden able to slip through, though, ever so easily, as the ghouls are not going to be able to catch up. All right, there is some damage already coming in. There goes a death coil to try and save it, as this one ghoul, so low on hit points, trying to run all the way back. Is it going to be able to make it through? It looks like it will be able to make it through. Again, another Shadow Strike. So both sides using their own abilities to try and either gain or deny experience. Oh, this ghoul down to 4 hit points. It will get taken down, but so does an archer. So a decent trade there, as a new ghoul now taking a little bit of damage. All right, that ghoul down to 32 hit points and gets denied by the Death Knight himself. Meanwhile, the Death Knight trying to chase after these archers. Those archers will drink a bit of Moonwell juice and be absolutely fine, as the Warden will be coming in from the south once again. All right, everything is looking good. The Death Knight now being brought over. The Death Knight needs to pull back. Where is he going to be going? Where is he going to travel to next? He is trying to head back home, and perhaps he will have obsidian statues and a lich waiting for him if he's able to time it correctly. Now, that Warden is extremely fast. That Death Knight needs to really get away, perhaps even getting boots of speed of his own, as the ghouls are just going to town on this sea turtle hatchling creep camp. That Death Knight getting the benefit of long distance experience. Meanwhile, the Warden selling some quick items and now trying to engage through this Ogre Magi. All right, one Troll Trapper in the back as well. Very high DPS. Ogre Magi gonna get taken down. There it goes, Rune of the Watcher and a Pure Up of Vitality. Very strong item for that Warden, as the Warden now tries to sneak inside or sneak back to his main base. Meanwhile, the Death Knight is already in position, and it looks like, wow, he was almost going to get this Ancient of Lore. Perhaps he should have focused on a different building instead, as the archers are now kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. All right, archers trying to get away. There goes one archer, another archer now just trying to get off some shots again. Is he going to be able to do so? There is a beautiful death coil trying to save the unit, as the Warden has somehow an infinite supply of mana, it appears, constantly being able to shadow strike all of these ghouls. All right, another low hit point ghoul, most likely. No shadow strike follow-up. Oh, there's a Frost Nova, and I believe the Warden is gonna, oh my goodness, wow. I don't know if that was a glitch on the timing. It looked like the Warden should not have survived that, but being able to blink that attack, very important there. That Warden now sitting at level 2, using a Clarity Potion and using the Moonstone to try and fill back up all of those Moon Wells. All right, Warden now coming back around. Death Knight, is it going to be able to get the kill? Oh, gets a little bit of damage. There is a Shadow Strike again, and this could be a bit of a problem. The Warden going straight after the Lich. However, the Death Knight trying his best to actually path in front of the Lich. One Dryad, one Warden is all that it's going to take. And oh my goodness, Scroll of Town Portal transferred. Lich at level 1 does not fall. More importantly than saving the Lich is denying your opponent experience at this stage, as the Lich is now regenerating a lot of hit points, and he himself is taking those additional gauntlets of Ogre Strength. That additional 2 gauntlets of Ogre Strength, that extra 150 hit points, will help out that Lich tremendously. 475 compared to compared to what, 625. That's more than a 20% increase, as we're now, or is that more than a 25% increase? Yeah, more than a 25% increase, as the giant sea turtles and the gargantuan sea turtles will get crept out now. Now, this is going to start to go well for the Death Knight. If the Death Knight can get a very, very high level and also bring along a Lich for the ride, that will give him a number of options whenever he tries to go for hero engages. However, his opponent is no slacker right now, already sitting on a level 3 Warden and still working to get to level 4. All right, the Death Knight is at level 3 as well, and gonna quickly take down that Ancient of War. Ancient of War in a bit of a deconstructed state, so to speak, as all the bears are now retreating back. You can see that it is a dual Ancient of Lore strategy with double Dryad production. And we are also looking at this Ogre Warrior creep count getting crept out pretty much right under the nose of Elegant. If you remember, Elegant does have this Watcher Ward here, and now a Death Knight trying to get saved, and it looks like it will be able to save that ghoul again. A 200 hit point save, as the units are now all backing off. There you go. There is an ensnare. There is a Frost Nova. This could be very bad news. What is happening? All right, let's take a look at this. This Warden is off over here trying to chase after this Crypt Fiend, and one bear does get taken down. A beautiful death coil once again coming in from WFZ, and WFZ is just somehow saving this army constantly. I believe that was either a Dark Ritual or a Death Pact, as the Warden now forced to retreat, realizing that she cannot, excuse me, stay in that fight for that much longer. Death Knight sitting at 3, Dark Ranger sitting at 1, Lich sitting at 2 most likely. Yes, sitting at 2. As all the units are now perhaps looking to start creeping out the 744 creep camp. Lich, Dark Ranger, Death Knight coming together. Ghouls got to go ahead and try and surround this giant sea turtle. We'll be able to do exactly that again. And so far, the Death Knight is really sticking to the strategy of trying to creep. Now, the strategy is generally best if you are creeping more effectively than your opponent. However, the Dark Ranger addition to the Undead army puts a little bit of a wrench into the Night Elf's Warden strategies solo. By having 3 heroes and spreading out all that experience, over time, later in the game, the Undead will continue to get stronger and stronger. The Warden is now stuck between making a decision. Do I want to go for multiple heroes, or do I want to get to this Warden up to level 6? Both of those options are viable, and both have their ups and downsides. Dark Ranger leading the way, Death Knight and Lich not too far behind. Meanwhile, the Warden realizes, wait, there's actually someone inside my base. I need to protect it. And here we go. 1 Obsidian Statue, 1 Destroyer against 3 Dryads. There are ghouls in this army as well, as there's a quick detonation to try and remove the mana of not only the Lich, but the Death Knight as well. All right, let's take a look. Dark Ranger is right off over here. We are going to see a blink off to the north, and all this Warden can really do is just try to blink and constantly harass. All right, there's a quick roar there. Roar now getting extra damage to all the ghouls and all the Crypt Fiends. That is a huge, huge turnaround, as we now see another, I believe, a Dark Ritual or a Blood Pact used there to try and funnel more mana into that Lich. Lich is still looking extremely strong. Bear now going to get stuck between a rock and a hard place, as the Destroyer down to dead now, trying to stay alive. All right, Death Knight sitting at level 4. Both sides engaging back and forth. Death Knight does have a Death Coil for that Lich, as the Lich is now trying to fight back against the Warden once more. The Warden draining all of the Moonwells. Is it going to work out? It looks as though it is going to be down to very, very low, and now forces a Scroll of Town Portal again. And is that Warden just delaying the inevitable? As you can see that the Warden is back off to the north. All right, let's take a look. There is another blink away. The Warden able to escape away once again. Meanwhile, the Tree of Eternity is joining in on the fight, dealing terrible, terrible damage to the Undead army while not suffering much himself. All right, Warden sitting at level 5. We are getting very close to level 6 now, but you can only get to level 6 by taking out your opponent's units. Creeping does not work, and this is going to perhaps haunt the Night Elf player just a bit. You can see another Crypt Fiend has fallen here, so somehow this Warden is a one-man wrecking crew, able to blink in, cause problems, and escape without really getting taken down. All right, there you have it. There is another Lich getting healed back up. There is the Destroyer. The Destroyer trying to save all the units, and there goes that Lich. There goes a Lich Frost Nova, but the Warden was able to back off in time once again. Abominations now being added as well. Let's take a look. Is that bear going to get taken down? Is that bear going to get taken down? Yes, it was. As the bear was taken down, you can see that this Lich is still off over here. It perhaps will get cooled as well, as we're looking at this one Warden shadow melding off at the, what I'll call the 12 o'clock position. The Death Knight and the Lich still working together, still staying side by side. Obsidian Statue trying to keep the mana up on the Death Knight, mostly to try and keep the mana up, or the hit points up on the Lich. Lich is also out of mana, pretty much, or rather low, so it's going to be time before we see her in some crazy action. All right, Dryads off behind this here. Are they going to get spotted? It does not look so. No, the Warden or the Destroyer does spot this here and is trying to catch up to that Dryad. That Dryad, however, having no idea where exactly that Destroyer is, now going to go in and just charge into the Moonwells. If you can take down the Moonwells, you take down all the significant healing sources for the Night Elf, and without that healing source, it just feels that much more difficult to try and outlast any battle, especially one in your own front yard. All right, the Warden trying to get away. Is it going to be able to get away? It looks like it will be able to, and heal back up again. The Warden, however, at a loss for words to just the sheer size of the Undead army. And I believe this is going to be the beginning of the end now. I think if the game were to end, I would really give it to the Undead player, but we still haven't seen a GG. All right, let's see. Continuing to fight this back and forth. There is some more skeletal minions. There goes another Crypt Fiend. Down it goes. The Warden sitting at level 5, getting close, very close now to level 6. Once it gets to level, once the Warden gets to level 6, all bets are off in terms of who's going to win this next battle, as we are looking at double obsidian statues and also 2 abominations with a Death Knight. All right. Dryads catching the Dark Ranger out in mid-open field. That is not good whatsoever. There is a death coil right there. Oh, and a very, very low hit point. Druid of the Claw down to 2% and was able to barely survive. And yeah, one was at 49, one was at 2%. Very, very low. And we are now looking to see what exactly WFZ can do to Elegant here inside his own base. Warden able to sneak by under, I guess, false pretenses, able to just head back up to the north. Notices that many of the Moonwells that she's worked so hard on have come to an end and unable to really do much about it. All right, there's a Frost Nova. Is the Death Knight going to get his man this time? It looks like it may happen. No, down to 50 hit points, and the Warden is just laughing all the way home. Why not save a death coil for? Why not save a death coil for the Warden? That would just put her out of her hair for quite a while, and she wouldn't be able to do very much. All right, Lich, Abominations, all coming in here together. Are we going to perhaps take down another Moonwell? Yes, it looks like another Moonwell or two will be coming down here in just a second. There goes one, and I believe I gotta wait for it to see what exactly the human player is really looking to try to do here. I can't really figure it out though. All right, Destroyers. Avatar of Vengeance is out on the field. That Avatar of Vengeance is pretty much indestructible. You cannot take it out. Does not take damage. And constantly spawns new minions that are rather troublesome. So the Warden, now at level 6, has enough in his arsenal to really fight back, and perhaps that will be enough against the 4-3-2 combination, or yeah, 4-3-2 combination of blue. All right, Death Knight still chasing the way. Is he going to be able to get that bear? Bear down to 20 hit points. There it goes, giving a little bit more experience to the Death Knight. Death Knight really needing... oh yeah, the Death Knight doesn't really need the experience. We'll see what he's going to do with it, as we now see the Abominations now just simply charging in after the Gargantuan Sea Turtle. The Death Knight now still getting pummeled here by these Spirits of Vengeances. And it looks like the Night Elf player is going to hold on to this Gargantuan Sea Turtle creep camp. Alright, let's take a look. Who's going to win out more? Where is the Dark Ranger? I don't see it. Don't see the Dark Ranger. Oh, Dark Ranger. Where is the Avatar? Alright, heading back up to the north off over here. The Warden. There is the Warden. Warden, I didn't believe got the experience either, but here we go. There is going to be another engagement here, trying to take down the Open Ogre Lord creep camp. The top right hand side of the map, one of two very difficult to clear out red creep camps that generally have the best items. All right, coming back around, you can see destroyers are now moving off to the north. The Death Knight moving off to the north as well. Are these armies going to finally clash? And when they clash, what will it look like? That is going to be a key question, as we still haven't seen any of these games really go long enough to see a very strong macro battle. It's generally been one-sided going in and then the same side coming out, as the players are getting more and more aware. All right. Crypt Fiend, Destroyers, Lich. Death Knight. Pretty much all working together here to try to clear out this creep camp and now also establish up an expansion here right outside of his base. Now this is going to be a problem, as we see that WFZ is just pretty much destroying and completely annihilating this base here and taking it out. If he's able to perhaps really push in and catch his opponent off guard with those destroyers, that might work. If, however, Elegant already has a couple of what am I thinking? All right, I apologize. Death Knight now going up against the Gargantuan Sea Turtle here. This has been a very, very long drawn-out battle of creeping. No sides really engaging against each other. So the fights have seemed to be taking 2v1 computer with a free-for-all at the end. So that's what we're having here. All the creep camps are pretty much cleared out, save for a minute few. The Death Knight is already sitting at level 5. Dark Ranger sitting at level 4. Lich sitting at level 4. So this is a very, very heavy army, or top-heavy army, with just high-level heroes and also lots of them. All right, Avatar of Vengeance perhaps trying to fight back. Let's take a look at this. All of a sudden, the Warden needs to get back inside the base. Will it be able to do exactly that? Looks like it will be able to do exactly that, as the Dryads are now attempting to focus down, and they really should be focusing down the destroyers. If he's able to focus down a destroyer or two, that is a huge, huge financial loss, as the Wardens are still going after the units in the sky. All right, that's coming back over here. We are burrowing. WFZ trying to get every ounce of hit points out of his units and looking to be doing a good job. Meanwhile, the Warden able to blink away again, as both sides are doing a little bit of a tactical retreat. All right, let's see. Another Crypt Fiend is right there. Let's take a look. Attacking off to the north. And there you have it. Just all of the Wardens still looking to... All right. So far, this has been a rather one-way battle. But now that there was just Dryads against the Crypt Fiends, no, there are still Abominations. I would still have to give the advantage to the human player if one was forced to be taken from me. But I have been wrong in the past. You can see that the Death Knight is still right here. What is this Death Knight really hoping to do? As it now runs back off to the north. All right, let's take a look at this. We may be rushing inside the main base. There is the game, as Elegant loses game number 2 in this series. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.